Hi guys, I'm the Kludge, and I have a crackpot theory about RWBY. As Volume 5 of RWBY unfolds, we're slowly being shown what many RWBY theorists have previously discussed, that Professor Ozpin is, while not necessarily evil, he is certainly more sinister than we had been led to believe. One aspect of this is his lack of hesitation to put others into danger, or even hopeless situations, in his efforts to stop Salem. Despite this, though, he seems to show regret, and he does seem to care for his fellow man, and particularly for the people who he puts in danger. This assumption is important to this theory, that Ozpin is willing to put others in danger for the greater good, but it does pain him to do so. It's revealed in Volume 5 that Ozpin is, in fact, the wizard from ancient times who gifted the maidens their power, and that he's cursed by the gods, as he says, to live on through others until he finally manages to stop Salem once and for all. It's established in Volume 4 and 5 that he reincarnates into the body of a young, like-minded soul every time he dies. It's also said that, given time, the two souls will become one, essentially snuffing out the existence of the host soul as a distinct person. I'm reminded here of the Trill and the symbiotes from the Star Trek franchise. It looks like Oscar's days are numbered, as soon there will only be a somewhat more Oscar-y Ozpin and no more Oscar to speak of. Now, given that first assumption, that Ozpin wishes not to harm others unnecessarily, I think it's pretty obvious that he would not feel great about being a death sentence for whomever he ends up possessing, especially given that he doesn't have a choice in the matter and that he is destined to possess a host that would otherwise be a good person. Remember, though, Ozpin is not a weak, powerless, or stupid character. He created the Maidens, the Huntsman Academies, no doubt various and sundry wonders in his many years on Remnant, but he does have one flaw: hubris. Salem, Cinder, and even Raven prominently criticized Ozpin for his arrogance, hiding the Fall Maiden under Beacon Academy, and indeed probably for many of his past schemes to put an end to Salem. But I don't think they're just making empty banter when they say that. Ozpin doesn't seem to have any qualms trying to control things that are really outside of even his considerable power. I think he's even trying to go against the will of the gods of Remnant. The key to this theory lies in a question asked over and over in the second and third season, but which was never really answered. Why was Ironwood at Beacon? Why was Penny at Beacon? And more generally, why was Penny even made? To quote Cinder, what use would Atlas have with a soldier disguised as a little girl? I don't think the Grimm can tell the difference. With that thought in mind, let's look at the flashback to the attack on Amber, the last Fall Maiden, in the third season. Cinder and her posse proposition Adam of the White Fang a matter of hours before the events of the Black Trailer and Blake's departure for Beacon Academy. Meaning, then, that less than a year must have passed from when Amber was attacked and the fall of Beacon. Really, though, the lack of foreshadowing of Cinder's maiden powers and a lack of discussion about Pyrrha's role until Volume 3 came around suggests that Amber wasn't attacked until around Team RWBY's second semester. But either way, there's not a lot of time elapsed between when Crow rescues Amber and the fall of Beacon. Now, as Port said during his and Dr. Oobleck's visit to the tie house, Beacon wasn't built in a day. Indeed, even something as simple as Yang's mechanical arm took months to build and deliver. RWBY is not a show where miracles of technology are just poof, magicked into existence in an improbably short time by off-screen super geniuses. No, in RWBY it takes hard work, people, and time to build things. So, I wonder, where did the aura transfer machine in the vault under Beacon Academy come from? Ironwood tells us it's cutting-edge Atlas tech. And of course, all of Ozpin's inner circle know about it. Something as outrageous as an aura transfer machine isn't something that could have been researched, prototyped, tested, revised, rebuilt, tested some more, and made ready to operate in just the few months that they had Amber on ice. No, that machine wasn't built specifically for transferring the Maiden's aura to another person. Indeed, Crow says outright that Amber's situation is something they'd never seen before, and that they were pressing the machine into service because they didn't have a choice, and that they didn't know whether or not it would work. So I suspect the machine had been researched, tested, and worked on by Ozpin, Ironwood, and the Atlas scientists for years before the events that we see. Also, notice, it's not like it's one of dozens of fancy-pants exotic super machines sitting underneath Beacon Academy. It was the only thing in the vault. So Ozpin and his tightest circle are working on this very experimental machine with a very particular function. What? Just in case? No. And this is where Penny comes in. Penny is the first machine capable of producing an aura. Why, then, is such a breakthrough machine at the Vital Festival of all places with Ironwood? I think Ironwood and the scientists in Atlas were working on machines that could create an aura on direction from Ozpin. They must have had a breakthrough, and they must have wanted to show off their success to Ozpin. So Ironwood brought their working prototype to Beacon to demonstrate it at the Vital Festival tournament. That's likely why he hadn't told Oz about Penny before, well, y'all know. But it is clear that others in Ozpin's inner circle knew about Penny. Crow in particular knew. Remember his fight with Winter? "Oh, I'm sorry. I mistook this for some kind of sentient garbage." This line also shows that Crow had a certain disdain for Atlas's work. Indeed, he seems to have a pretty poor opinion of the whole operation throughout the volume. He's not enthusiastic about the transfer to Piri either. But why? I say it's because he knows about Ozpin's flaw, and he's troubled by it, even if it's not to the same extent as his sister. Ozpin's arrogance has him treading on the territory of the gods of Remnant. Ozpin was cursed by the gods to reincarnate over and over again until he can defeat Salem, in the process snuffing out one young like-minded soul after another. So after years and years and life after life, he begins work on a way out of his curse, a way to defy the gods. He, with Ironwood's help, builds a machine that can remove an aura from a body and transplant it into another. He also has the same people working on creating an artificial vessel that can contain an aura. And he plans to separate his aura from his host, so he doesn't have to constantly be destroying good people just by existing anymore. He's also quite late in the game by the events of the show. His transfer machine is ready, or very nearly so, and he's just waiting for a vessel to be ready to receive his aura. Ironwood's team of scientists have finally managed to create just such a vessel in Penny. So he brings it to Vale not only to demonstrate it and its capabilities in the Vital Festival, but also for testing in the aura machine. Though I'd like to think Penny is a prototype and the vessel for Ozpin would be more of a blank slate as opposed to creating an Ozpenny. There's just one problem. Salem is moving too. Amber's powers are partially taken and Oz's priorities move to damage control. Before long, the entire House of Cards comes crashing down, and Ozpin's arrogance leads to his fall at Cinder's hand, as well as the ruin of all that he'd built at Beacon. Now, he's reincarnated in yet another kind soul, and he's in a weaker position than ever as Salem and her lot move against Haven. This could also lead to some real questions about the prominence of the gods in Remnant. It's stated more than once that the gods abandoned Remnant long ago, but it could be inferred from this that they're still involved in Remnant's affairs, and indeed that they lash back at those like Ozpin who step outside of their bounds. Ozpin's fate is punishment for trying to outsmart the gods. And the scary part? The way older characters speak of him, this is what he's known for. And I expect we'll see more unfortunate results of his hundreds of years of scheming and failures. He said it himself. I've made more mistakes than any man, woman, or child who's ever lived. Indeed. This has been The Kludge. Thanks for listening, and I hope to speak with you all again sometime.